Galimera, Galispera, Galinichta. No background music, but here we go. Has anyone seen Chelsea, Stamford Bridge, John Terry, Frank Lampard, Didier Drogba, Diego Costa? Can you hear me, Jose Mourinho? Your boys took one hell of a beating. Has anyone seen The Shed End, The King's Road, Dennis Wise, Gary Newman, Jerry Halliwell, Joe Cole, Ashley Cole, John Major? Your boys took one hell of a beating. Has anyone seen Battersea Park, the Saatchi Gallery? Jason Cundy, can you hear me? Your boys took one hell of a beating.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Thanks for that, Sophie. Very good, actually. It's hard work. People don't realise how much hard work that is when you really give it. It's not easy.
Can I just say, you are an epic human. No matter what folks say, I was talking to Paul Ross last night. He always loves your banter. And he brought up the show with Jamie, and you sounded prickly for the first time, if I may say so.
Understandably,
and I, right? And I said to him, he's on the show tomorrow. Do you think that he'll show up? And he had no doubt whatsoever that Mr. Jason Cundy would show up. And here you are. Well, as Super Kev would say, bosh.
Well, before we get going, I know Kev's not been well, so I'd just like to send him all my best wishes, hoping for a speedy recovery. He's had a little bit of a tough time. So I know Kev, and known Kev since I was like 12 or 13. So, you know, I wish Kev a speedy recovery and hope to see him back here soon.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks so much. He adores you. He adores you a lot.
He's a good boy. He's a good boy. So I woke up this morning, I'm thinking, wonder what I could do today that can, I know I've got to do. I've got to speak to a gooner, right? That's the first thing. At least I turned up, Soph, more than my team did second half, that's for sure.
I have to say. Now, I want to get stuck into that a little bit because I was saying to Paul last night that I could see what you meant about the first half because we got the early goal and I thought the floodgates would open pretty soon after that. However, London derby, you never know how it's going to go. We know that, I mean, we're 30 points. We got more than 30 points. It's unbelievable, really, when you think about it. But as bad as your defense is, and he did make changes, going forward, you have explosiveness. And I think if you had a better striker yesterday, you could have maybe got a couple goals. So I could see what you were saying about the first half because there was a moment where I felt, we're allowing them to have the ball a little bit here and they look a little bit dangerous on the break. Is that what you meant when you were chatting with Jamie last night on TalkSPORT?
Absolutely. So I'd done the comms for Chelsea TV and my fear was the first 15, 20 minutes. So I'm like, if you can get the 15, 20 minutes, you know what it's like in games, you try to have little building blocks, get yourself into the game. You know, we had Gilchrist making his debut at right back against Side, and you're thinking, right, protect him, you know, let's get through early stages of the game. And of course, you got off to a blistering start. It was a disastrous start from us. And after 4 minutes, I'm now saying we need to get 15, 20 minutes without conceding the second goal. That was my concern, that we would then go in at half-time 2, maybe 3-0 down. And it never happened. 10 minutes, then I felt you let us off the hook. I felt you let us off the hook a little bit. And the crowd was felt a little bit nervous. And then we had chances. I mean, there was a chance down the left-hand side where Jackson's clearly got to work on his finishing, but he turns Saliba on the halfway line and he gets out. There was a corner. I know you had your chances as well, and there was a shot coming from Declan Rice. Petrovic makes a save down to his right. There was the deflection from Dizazi. So you could have scored as well, but I've gone in at half-time thinking there was a corner that Badiashile flicked on. We had a chance. Jackson, I don't know what he's doing with his header at near post. Kukurea had a chance. Then we had Nonamedawake on that right-hand side, gets in behind Tomiyasu. And I've gone at half time, so thinking, I felt we finished quite strong. So I'm at half time thinking, right, we've got a footing in this game I didn't feel we'd have. That was my point. I felt you let us off the hook, and then you got us back on the
hook. I agree. I have to say, going into halftime, and I was on the old X, which, by the way, well done for abandoning that cesspool. Good job. I haven't been able to do that yet.
No, I think about 18, 19 months. I've not tweeted again. I won't ever go back on there. It's just it's not for me.
It's not pleasant.
I'll do this, Soph.
Yeah. Well, I'm very grateful that you're here. You know, I hear you, because going into halftime, I was a little bit nervous, and maybe Jay, and you've been here before with your team. You're so close to a title. You know, you've been able to close the deal. We weren't able to last season. It feels like this season we're a better team mentally, physically. Were you surprised? Like, did you think, oh, the old Arsenal, here we go. We got a sniff here after those opportunities? Or do you see us differently this season, that we're built a little bit differently?
Yeah, I think we saw that against Wolves, actually. That was a big test at the weekend. It had been a bad week for Arsenal, going out in the Champions League, losing at home to Villa. And the big test was Wolves. I know then you move on to Chelsea, but how do you respond from that? How do you get back from that? And I felt Arsenal deserved to win. It wasn't stellar. There was a performance there. You're thinking it's all about the result at this stage of the season. It's about the result. That's the most important thing. Performances are less important, because all you need to do now is get over the line. That's what you want to do. Get over the line. The big performances have happened. You've got a brilliant defensive record. You've got goals now coming from all angles. You bury teams. You know, you're a high scoring team. And even though it was 2-0, you deserve to win. Wasn't brilliant, didn't have to be. It's about the points. And going into this game, I messaged you yesterday. I didn't think I'd be sitting here on the back of anything other than an Arsenal victory. I didn't expect the pound that we got, in all honesty. I think that we're better. We've shown in the first half we can compete. But Arsenal are a different side this season. Declan Rice, that midfield, you might be able to tell me, Partey, Declan and Odegaard. I've not seen that too many times. I don't know how often
we haven't, Jay, because Thomas Partey's been injured for most of the season, and a lot of Arsenal fans kind of cry out for that and think that it's our best combination. Jorginho's stepped in and done great. Don't get me wrong, but you've seen Jorginho play. There's just, he can't play consecutively across
that suit him than other games. Where he can control games. When the game becomes a bit erratic and the game is perhaps not going quite the way you want, he can bring the tempo down and control. And he's very good at that.
He's very good at that. And yesterday, Thomas Partey showed us exactly what we were missing. I thought that he was superb, and it kind of makes you question. I'm not sure if Arteta felt this was the game for him to come back. You used to play the game. I'm sure, like, when you come back, he's been on the bench a couple of times, a couple of 20-minute appearances, one where he didn't even get used at all. And it makes you wonder, should he have played in the Villa game? Should he have played in the Bayern Munich game? But maybe the gaffer just felt like they earmarked this match for him to come back. And my goodness, we've been good in midfield, but yesterday with those three, I thought we absolutely dominated Chelsea completely.
Absolutely, and that was the area of the park. I mean, it doesn't always work that way, but if your midfield control the game, more often than not, you go on to have not to lose the game. That tends to be the area if you can dominate that. Second half, it was boys v men. I don't know what to say. I've seen this before. And again, going back to what I spoke to Jamie last night, we have an issue at halftime. This has happened countless times. It's a Chelsea problem. And I think Arteta would probably been a little bit disappointed. That when he got booked just before half-time, I think that probably told you a little bit about his frustration. Second half, Odegaard got on. I mean, Odegaard was brilliant all game, to be fair. And once you got the second goal, there was no way back. It was boys v men, ultimately.
Can I ask you, Jay, because you taking your rose-colored glasses off, you're pretty good at that. Nicholas Jackson, that challenge, does he have that challenge in him? Is he a bit erratic? Did you think that was a red card? It didn't even get reviewed, didn't even get a yellow. and it looked
It's a yellow
a
card
little
all
bit
day long.
nasty.
Yeah, it's a yellow card. It's a bad tackle. It's not a good tackle, that as well. I don't know whether you watch Dermot Gallagher on Ref Watch. We speak to Dermot on the Sports Bar every Monday, and there's a number of tick boxes that he has. It's where the foot is. It's the distance, where the challenge travels. It's a poor tackle. Did he not get booked for that?
No, not a booking. They didn't even.
Okay, well, I'm not going to defend that. It's a booking.
Yeah, and there was a similar challenge in the second half, wasn't there? Where I think that's why Arteta got the yellow card, because he got pissed off.
Right.
That we got the yellow, and Nicholas Jackson kind of got away with what a lot of
I
people
didn't realise he
thought
got
was
away
a
with
red.
that. So I just assumed that was going to be a booking because, well, it's a booking every day of the week, and it's not enough for a red for me. Then you talk about the tick boxes that Dermot. It's the height, the distance challenge. He's gone low. It's a poor tackle, but it's a yellow card. I think if that's a red card, we don't want to see that in the game. Those type of challenges can and will always happen. I think we need to be careful about where the red card goes. Any higher up the leg, then it's probably going to be a red.
I mean, he could have broken his ankle, Jay. It was pretty bad.
True. No, it was bad, but injuries happen in football. The ball's there to be won. I don't know whether if we want a red card for that. I think that we need to be careful and protect the physicality of the game. We've lost a lot of the physicality out the game, and understandably so. We want ball players to be influential in the game, but yes, it looks bad. It's bad tackle.
Mm-hmm.
It's not red. It's not red.
So I have you on here, and I don't really want to kind of talk about how bad your team is, because it's evident for everybody to see, especially when you look at the 30-point gap. It must be. We've felt this pain, Jay. We've been here before. We've been on the end. I mean, especially during the Mourinho years, on the end of some horrible results against your mob. I want this to kind of be a bit more about Arsenal and what they're achieving and how they're growing, versus the demise of Chelsea Football Club on and off the pitch. But I do want to ask you this, because there are a lot of Chelsea fans, some of my mates, that are really questioning Pochettino and feel like, after having the time that he has and the players that he has and the money that you've spent, that you shouldn't be on 47 points mid-table. You should be a little bit better. What's your take on Pochettino, and if you feel like he needs more time and he's the guy?
Right. Well, I mean, there's a lot to go at there, and I'll try and simplify it. This football club has kind of been ripped up and started again. If you think about where we were just over a year ago, we were in the Champions League quarterfinals against Real Madrid, and it might feel that it was long. But that team, if you look at that team, only 2 players are still at the football club. That's Reece James and Ben Chilwell. I think there might be one more, but generally the team's been ripped up. I feel for Poch, because he's come into a club that has decided to go down a route that no other football club has done before, by potential, by young players that hopefully you can coach and get through, and either eventually sell or eventually have a team that has grown together. The problem with that is you need experience, you need old heads, you need, in games where things aren't going so well, you need a player that can organise, talk to some of the players. And I felt for Alfie Gilchrist last night, because it's his debut, and he's thrown into currently the best side in the country. In terms of Pochettino, yes, he deserves some criticism and some blame, but I don't think really bringing anyone in right now. The question is, when you sack a manager, that's only half the job. The other half is then the recruitment of getting the new manager in. And you've got Liverpool, you've got Bayern Munich, you've got various other clubs, Barcelona in there as well, maybe Manchester United, all fishing in the same pool. And do Chelsea right now want to be going and fishing in that pool? I'm not so sure we need to be doing that right now. And now, do you know what, Soph? Actually, in the last 9, that's the first defeat in 9 games. Hasn't been brilliant. 4 defeats, 4 draws. It's been okay. There's been some really good performances. A week ago we beat Everton 6-0. We actually went toe-to-toe with Man City, or at the Champions League game. There have been encouraging signs. We are in a better place this season than we were last. Conceded more goals, scored more goals. We can still get, believe it or not, even though it's the Conference League, we've got games in hand over West Ham, and we've got to try and now finish the season strongly. Last night's performance is one of those where you do go, okay, where's Poch going? What does this look like? I hate the word injuries because every club has had them, everyone. But our list of injuries is astonishing, and I think then you need to look a little bit deeper into why and how these players are out. Fofana's never played a game under Pochettino, and Nkunku, the boy's a talent. He's played hardly played at all. Lavia played 13 minutes. Reece James, Ben Chilwell. You know, the list is. I'm not blaming injuries, but it's a factor. Another factor is we have a 22-year-old striker up front in Jackson who his all-round game, I think, is good. You know, his hold-up play, he's quick, needs to get a little bit of upper body strength. Finishing is a major issue for the boy. But his first season, he's got 10 Premier League goals. Now, I believe Darwin Núñez has got 11. I think that might have been Kai's 10th and 11th last night.
12th, 12.
12, right? So, you know, he's not been terrible. He's not been brilliant. There's something to work on, but he needs that muscle memory and training. I worked with Clive Allen at Chelsea, one of the best finishers I played with. It's muscle. I used to watch him. Muscle memory. Kev will tell you, get yourself into those situations on the training ground. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And that's what he has got to do. But again, I hate using injuries because every club has had them. Newcastle will do it. You know, Timber injured first game. Hasn't come back.
First game. And he scored a banger for the under-23s the other day. We missed him.
Saliba was out. You know,
Saliba at the end, Thomas Partey at the end, Tomiyasu at the end.
But you've got a squad of players. No one's going to feel any sympathy, and why would they, for Chelsea spending the thick end of £1 billion? I wouldn't expect it and don't want it. It's about producing a team. Second half was a disgrace yesterday, Soph. That was, you know, and I'm sitting there thinking, I remember doing Arsene Wenger's 1000th game. I'm like, please don't get 6. Just I'll take 5 now. Just give me the 5. I don't want that, you know. And I know how I felt that day. It was a 12:30 kickoff. I seem to remember on a Saturday. It was but look, we are where we are right now. I wouldn't for trying to get the answer to your question. Do I sack Poch? No, I don't. I think there have been some good performances. Generally, we go toe-to-toe with some of the big heads. Man United away, Newcastle away, Arsenal away.
I thought you did pretty good against City in the semi-final, actually. I didn't think you played that badly. But I felt like a player you were missing yesterday maybe was a Kai Havertz. And I know he's a little bit different for you, but to see him score 2 goals against you, to enjoy it and celebrate it, I know Chelsea fans will be like, oh, we don't care about Kai Havertz, but they ribbed him and shredded him. And Chelsea's social media team, I don't know if you've seen it, Jay, but when they were announcing our goal scorers, they didn't put Kai's name on.
I know. I don't. The social media stuff of football clubs, I think it's a little bit petty. I don't know what you think.
It's a bit crass, isn't it? Let's be honest.
I mean, look what Forest did the other day with their statement. I don't know. I think social media, whoever runs them at football clubs, I think you need to be kind of careful. It feels a little bit like they're falling into that narrative of what Twitter is. And you called it earlier. Was it a cesspit?
Cesspool, yeah, that too. Cesspit works as well.
It feels like, come on, you've got a responsibility as a. It can be very petty and very childish. I've seen other football clubs that pop at one another, like into the actual Twitters or X.
It's become too fanny as opposed to team oriented. I think for some clubs.
Going back to Kai. Look, I said at the time, there's a player in there. We saw it in dribs and drabs at Chelsea, and I felt for him because at that time, and Chelsea have always been a little bit like this. We are a little bit of a basket case of a football club. You know, we do change managers. You know, Frank and then Tuchel come in, and of course he went on to score the winning goal in the Champions League final. And there is a player in there. Maybe he just needs that constant, a settled environment, which at Chelsea we haven't had for certainly for the last 2 years, coming up for 2 years now. But there's a player in there. In terms of what he has got, I speak to Kevin Atchard a lot. He said his generational talent. We didn't really see what we're starting to see at Arsenal. You know, he's now starting to look like that player. And, you know, he come back to haunt us last night, took his goals well. in particular the one where he's gone in behind. Was it his first? It was his first goal.
The pass from Odegaard, and I want to get your take
Yeah.
before I know that we've only got a few more minutes with
No,
you.
you can take it as long as you want. So
Yeah?
it's fine.
Okay, all right, lovely. That touch and the finish, and I think what he brings to us. I know that we need a striker, Jay, but in that 9 role, we've grown to become a physical team. Like at the back, Saliba, Gabriel; in the middle of the park, Declan Rice, who we'll get to in just a minute. But the physicality that he's brought to us up front, Jesus has a physicality to him, but he can break easily. He's injury prone. And Kai Havertz, I think his movement and his football intelligence, he's always thinking one pass ahead of what's happening, which is why I think Odegaard and he have been working really good together. Would you agree with that? I think he's a very smart footballer.
I don't think he's a number 9, but he's one of those players that can play up there and also influence deeper. And I think that was part of his problem at Chelsea. What is his best position? How do you get the best out of him? That he played up top, and him and Timo Werner, I think, they were up in the Champions League final. I'm not convinced he's a number 9, but in the modern game, you can be. I think Jose described it as a 9.5, something like that. He's that type of player where he can drop, he can influence play, and I'm seeing a player now that I've seen bits of. The only thing with Kai is, our experience is his consistency. But he was young at Chelsea. We're talking another year on from what he is now. And with young players, you get inconsistencies. As I said, Kevin Achard believes he's a generational talent. But don't forget, we brought in Cole Palmer. And Cole has come in. I mean, I don't want to talk about injuries, but last night him and Gusto were missed badly. But Cole has come in, and I felt that what I was expecting to see out of Kai at Chelsea was what Cole has brought to us. But now it looks like Kai is starting to. And also, I want to mention Odegaard. He's probably consistently over the last 3 seasons been the best number 10. I think probably. I know people will talk to me about Kevin De Bruyne, but he's had injuries. But I would say consistently, last 3 years, I would say Odegaard is as good as anyone in the league right now. And last night, I thought he was the best player on the pitch.
Is there an argument to say that not only is he the best number 10 or midfielder in, kind of creative player in the league? Do you think there's an argument to say he's been the best this season? Can you think of anyone who's...
Well, Ollie Watkins has astonished me. He has turned into a top striker.
We'll take him.
Yeah, I mean, you put him in the Arsenal side. You put him at the chances at the weekend. And I said this on TalkSPORT the other day. Ollie Watkins is one of those strikers now, one of those guys at the top whose hold-up play was good. I don't know whether you saw the goals they scored against Bournemouth at the weekend. He didn't score. He had 2 assists, but he is now his all-round game. He's as close to anything that we have going into the Euros as Harry Kane. His all-round game. He can go in behind. He can come to feet. His link-up play's good. He's a brilliant finisher. I mean, as you saw the other week, right, when he goes through it felt like he's going to get his shot away and he's going to get it on target. It's whether anyone can do anything about it. But going back to best player in the country, Odegaard's in the conversation.
Yeah.
There was absolutely there was a pass where he plays those blind passes where he plays it there. He looks and he cuts those little balls back. Can't remember. It might have been to Saka. Can't remember who it was.
There was a great ball to Saka in the first half. Yeah, it was. It's like cutting through a slice of bread with it.
Yeah, and also if you think about his career move, he went to Real Madrid at 15, 16, something like that. I have to say, when he first joined Arsenal, I don't know what you think, I wasn't that taken by him. I'm looking at him going, not convinced, because he was on loan at the time, right?
Yeah, he came on loan, and it's interesting. That's a valid point, because when he came on loan and then we signed him, some Arsenal fans were like, "Oh no!" And I mean, I don't want to say, I'm not patting myself on the back, but my Archangel in chat, and by the way, happy birthday, Arch, listening from Australia. I supported him from the very beginning. Kev was a huge fan of his because he had been doing some La Liga games for Mola as well. And if you talk to Real Madrid fans now, Jay, we stole him. 35 million for Odegaard. How much is he in the market today if he were to go to be off?
do you know what? That's good. That's good recruitment and good coaching, because some players need to leave. You know, people talk to me about Chelsea about, like, you had Salah, you had De Bruyne. I'm like, yeah, but they weren't those players here. They had to go away and find themselves and then come back to be those players. But it's also the recruitment and the coaching. So that is, Real Madrid might feel like that right now, but they didn't have the vision or the patience, maybe, that Arsenal found.
Yeah.
So there's credit there on the recruitment and the coaching to get.
I mean, I think when you look at kind of over a period of time, we've gone from Kolasinac and Mustafi and Shamak and Sonogo to, you know, Saliba, Gabriel, Ben White, Tomiyasu, Declan Rice. You know, it's the DNA and the profile of the club. I mean, Adu and Mikel really have not only identified the type of player they want, but they've changed the culture of the club, both on and off the pitch. We were broken.
Yeah,
I mean, that's why I said to you at the start, like, we know we've been where you have been. And I showed this picture actually on a show I did with Henry Winter on Monday, and it was about Arteta and trusting the process, and if it's led to progress,
right,
and if that will eventually lead to success. And when you see when he inherited the team, I mean, there's 4 players left.
yeah.
I mean, he's had to turn this juggernaut around. I was going to get to him later, but we're on the subject now. There are some Arsenal fans after the Villa loss and the Bayern Munich loss, you know, they call your show at night wanting Arteta out. I think they're mental.
Insane. You do wonder for the sanity of some fans. I remember you listened to that show. So yes, they were asking for or questioning Arteta. I don't know where you go with those, Soph, to be honest with you. You know, you're knocking on the door. You're going to go, as you know, you're going to go mighty close this year, mighty close. And it's now over to you, Man City, over to you, Liverpool play Everton tonight. I expect Liverpool to win. They always seem to beat Everton, you know. But the goal difference last night,
massive.
Yeah, you can thank us for that. But yeah, it's going to go close, and I can't call it right now. I mean, I was listening to TalkSPORT this morning. Piers Morgan was on breakfast this morning.
Oh, there's a flip-flopper.
And yes, he is a flip-flopper. He was Arteta out for, you know. But listen, that's what football fans are. That's who we are. So that, you know,
I was at the beginning, Jay, when he lost that semi-final in the Europa League to Emery, the man he replaced, and then we started the following season losing rock bottom 0-0-0. I was like, woof, this is I was Arteta out. I did not trust the process at all.
Right.
But then by the end of that season and then going into the next season, I just thought mentally, can he adapt? Can he rebuild? And Kev always used to say to me, Soph, it's the players. He's got to get his own players. And I do believe a good manager builds a team in his image. And we've seen that now. Yeah. But any Arsenal fan questioning him from last season to this season, I think are mental. And is it fair to measure him against Klopp and Pep? Do you think that's fair at this point? I mean, what he's doing against those two, and they tell us, Jay, that Pep's the greatest ever and Klopp's one of the best we've ever seen and City's the greatest team.
Yeah.
I mean, is it fair? I
think now that's probably a compliment, isn't it? Isn't it, like the fact that he's in that conversation? Doesn't it feel like, you know, the fact that we are now saying who is the best out in the country now? Is it Arteta? Is it Klopp? Is it Pep? I think that's probably a compliment. That the fact that you are comparing the two. And really, when you think about what Pep has won and what Klopp has done at Liverpool, and he's in that conversation, I mean, he's won an FA Cup. You know, that's all he's won so far. But he's up there again, fighting. Getting himself, muscling him in with the last decade, two of the best managers that we've seen in Europe, not just in England. So I think it's probably a compliment, that the fact that people do start talking about Arteta in the same breath as Pep and Klopp.
Okay, a couple more for you. I know that you're a massive fan, and of course you wear your England heart on your sleeve. I know you have high hopes for the Euros. I know, like, you question Southgate sometimes, not as much as the others, because you've kind of stood by Gareth Southgate in terms of what he's achieved with getting to finals and almost winning the big ones. Declan Rice, if you could pick any player from our team I guess that maybe Declan Rice would be the one you would love to build around. Your thoughts on his ceiling and
I've
what
only
he's
got
done
one
this
pick.
season.
Can I have a couple?
You can have as. Do you need 11? Do you need 11 picks?
Oh God. Well, I mean, Saliba for me is probably the best centre half in the country. The best partnership in him and Gabriel. That's not even up for debate, is it?
No, I don't think so.
I can't think. I know you're a gooner and asking you probably, but I can't think of a better centre half partnership. My front door's just gone. I'm not answering it. Declan Rice, yeah, obviously he is in there. He is the thing with Declan. If you remember the first goal, those runs that he makes from the inside to left, and then he plays it out to Trossard. I always said, even at West Ham, that he was being held back. It was defensive. David Moyes defensively wanted to have him, and he's brilliant at it. But there was legs and there's energy, and we saw at West Ham there were a couple of moments in the latter stage, and certainly in the conference when they won the Conference League, he scored a goal in a away game. I can't remember against, but he gets on his bike and he's a threat in the area. Is he on 6 or 8 goals now this season in the Premier League?
I think 5.
Oh, I was in between.
Check.
Yeah, I think it might be more. Anyway, he's now starting to have an influence that way. And I think the first goal, he was allowed to run and run. Dizazi has got to come out. He's got to help Gilchrist. And in not doing that quick enough, he kind of isolates Alfie a little bit. But they're the influences that he has going that way. I forgot what the question was.
6 goals.
6 goals.
If right. I thought Declan would be the player, but you said Saliba. What's his ceiling? What do you think his ceiling is?
Declan,
yeah.
England captain. I mean, wouldn't surprise me at all. Arsenal captain one day. I don't know how old Odegaard and him. They can't be that. There's not that much in their age, I would have thought. I mean, he can go on and achieve what he is at the moment. It feels like he's going on, achieving. He wants to be playing. That was the big thing at West Ham, wasn't it? He could have left the season before. Fair play, he stayed. He was captain.
Yeah.
And he won the trophy.
Won the trophy.
Probably could have left a year earlier. West Ham fans won't like me saying that. He probably could and stayed, fair enough. But the ceiling, he wants to be lifting trophies. And I'm not talking FA Cups, okay? I'm talking the big dogs. And right now, he ain't far away. He ain't far away. And you're waiting for City to blink. And they've got some tough games coming up. They're playing on Thursday against Brighton. Still got to go away at Spurs. I know you guys are playing them at the weekend.
That's my next question. What do you think about the North London derby? I mean, I feel like Tottenham play such a high line, Jay, and Ange has maybe been found out a little bit that it doesn't really have a plan B. But with that said, they still have dangerous players. It's a North London derby. Anything can happen. We did the double over them last season. You saw what we did to your lot last night. What is your take on this Sunday's match?
Well, I mean, the thing with what I saw a little bit last night, and I've seen with Arsenal in the past, is that they can adapt in the game. I felt you gave us a little bit too much space where you got your nose in front and then you got yourself set in your shape. Ange won't do that. And I find that can be a fault. You need to be adaptable in the Premier League. You need to be able to adapt to different teams. And I felt in his last couple of seasons, Arsene Wenger was a little naive. He didn't adapt. There was a game at 12:30 away at Liverpool where you got absolutely rinsed. You come to our place, and I felt those early 12:30 kickoffs. Arsene, I don't know what it was about those 12:30 kickoffs, but he didn't adapt. You've got to adapt in the Premier League. And Postecoglou, my criticism of him is that I know it's one of those, it's who we are, mate, right? But you need to be able to adapt. And in game as well, not just at the beginning of a game. And I'm not so sure that he's able to do that. That can be it can be a positive or a negative. When it works, we've seen Spurs, they can be really good. But when it doesn't, Newcastle away, they can be really bad. So I think it's down to Arsenal. I think if Arsenal turn up and bring their A game, I think you probably win. If Spurs bring their A game, and Spurs and Arsenal bring the A game, we've got a hell of a game in our hands. That's for the neutral. If you want to see, that's a 2:00 kickoff, isn't it, on the Sunday?
Yeah.
That's that. Go on.
No, go on.
I was going to say, if they both bring their A game, it's going to be close. It's going to be a tough call. I think, did you not draw there last year?
No, we won. We did
You won there
we
last
won. Yeah, we won there. The last time we've lost there was the 3-0 where Rob Holding got sent off. We drew 2-2 at ours earlier this season.
right.
I feel like they're going to want to do everything to stop us. Of
Oh my
course,
God! I mean, yes, of course.
This could get ugly.
Well, in a good way. I mean, that's what you
Yeah,
want, right? I mean,
yeah,
you're fighting out
totally.
the biggest, league title in the world, and you can't get bigger rivalry. And that's why I was disappointed in us. There was to stop you guys winning the title. We had to make sure we put in a performance, and all we've done second half is give you more goals, which could potentially be the difference maker. But
You,
it's
you, Jason, can I just say it's not a lot of people would have come on the show today, right? And this is what I love about you. I know some Arsenal fans, they're like, give it to him, Soph. Tell him. He's always giving it to us on that TalkSPORT Sports Bar with that Muppet Jamie O. All right.
Well, can you imagine? They must hate the sports bar. A Chelsea fan and a gooner. I mean, my God.
Jamie,
I was
I've got
always
to give it to
gonna turn up,
Jamie last night. He was very he wasn't having it, was he? He
No,
wasn't.
no. And look, second half, no argument. No argument at all. Not one little bit. But first half, like I said, I thought you let us off the hook a little bit, and then the second, third, that was a tough one to take. But no, so if I'll always turn up. I give it and I take it. That's how it should be.
That's football. That's football.
Yeah, I mean, people want to see the pain. Like people want to. I will give it, as you know, and I enjoy it, and it's all fun. But when my team doesn't, and it's also quite cathartic as well. So you've helped me kind of get over the. I mean, the first thing I woke up this morning, I opened my eyes, so I'm like, shit, it was 5-0, 5-0. So yes,
our biggest win against you.
I believe so. So I've been told many times.
All right. So, can you see City dropping points? And if so, against who?
I mean, can I see them? I don't know, Soph. That's a real toughie, because when City get to this stage of the season, I'm just looking at the fixtures now. When City get to this stage of the season, they do get their trophy heads on, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
They got Brighton away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not easy. Forest away. I mean, do you know what? They've
got to play Tottenham, which is a bit of a bogey team for them.
I don't think they've ever won at the new stadium.
No.
I think I'm right in saying that. They got Wolves at home, full of Spurs. I mean, they've still got to play West Ham at home. It's home.
That's their last game, I think, isn't it, of the season?
Yeah. Can I see them dropping points? Yeah. You probably, if they go through there from now until the end of the season, don't drop a point, I think you've just got to go, fair enough.
Do you?
From this stage, from where we are now, so I'm looking at the league table. You guys are on 77, they're on 73. They do have those 2 games in hand. We'll find out a lot on Thursday night. Brighton, who knows what Brighton can do? So sometimes Brighton are one of those teams that you fear playing, because they can put in a performance, but they can also throw in a very mediocre one where you kind of catch them on the right day and you can get a victory going, how did that happen? I mean, Luton away. I don't know if you remember that game. I think it was at 4. I mean, like, where's that come from? If that Brighton turn up, then yeah, City are picking up points and probably goal difference as well.
De Zerbi's auditioning for gigs. I think he's going to want to get a result here. But I mean, listen, Brighton were a bogey team for us up until this season. I mean, we've had some really terrible results against Brighton, and we've seen that Brighton team that you're talking about show up. Yeah. And so the hope I have inside me is like De Zerbi's auditioning for some big gigs. He's going to want to get a really good result.
He's been linked. Man United. I mean, I know he's linked with Chelsea. He's from Brighton. Of course, he's linked with Chelsea. That makes sense, doesn't it? It's all you can do now is do what you did last night, and all you can do now is just go to Spurs and pick up the points. You picked up the victory against Wolves after what was a disappointing week. You battered us last night. Right now, haven't conceded a goal, scored 7. Can't do any more And it's just, and all this will do, you want scoreboard pressure. You want to, City will be looking at the table going, right, we need to win now. We have to. We've got to. A draw's no good. That's how they'll be looking at this. But like I said, I've been in this situation with watching Jose win titles. We went away to Blackburn. There was his first year. We won 1-0. It was one of those games. Everyone's going, they're going to drop points. We won 1-0. I think Robin scored, and it was like, that's a team that have got the title, because you've got to go to this place. It was a midweek game, and that's what City got to do. That's what City got to do on Thursday.
Do you think we're discounting Liverpool, Jay?
No.
Not us in particular, but folks.
No, I don't think you should. I mean, the goal difference now, they've got Everton tonight. They go level on points. You would have thought tonight they beat Everton. I can't kind of make a case for Everton. They've been pretty poor.
They've been awful.
Yeah. So I can't make a case there. But that's when the goal difference comes in, And unless Liverpool win by, which they are capable of smashing Everton, it wouldn't surprise me if it's 3 or 4-0. That wouldn't surprise me. I can't see Liverpool dropping points right now. But in terms of what they got left, they got West Ham coming up at the weekend away. I seem to remember Liverpool struggling at West Ham. They still got Spurs. Spurs got a big say where the trophy goes. Big say. They've still got to play all 3.
Yeah, and we've got to play Man United as well at Old Trafford, which has been a bit prickly for us.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about that. I know they're terrible, and I mean,
you beat them there. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can't make a case for you when you're chasing a title and you're going away at Old Trafford. I seem to remember you doing it there. We've won it there before, Jay. Yes, you did to win the title.
Mark Overmars' goal.
Yes, he did.
Will Todd.
Yeah, that's right. But it's going to be tight, Soph. I mean, I haven't got a crystal ball, I'm afraid. But
no, I know. But listen, it's been magic. It's been great chatting to you. Who do you want to win it? Get you out on this one.
Man City.
Jay.
Come on, Soph. What did you expect?
All right,
London. You want me to be honest? And then Liverpool, and then Arsenal. Oh no, can't mention Arsenal. The Man City or Liverpool.
You hate us more than Liverpool after all those battles with.
Do you know what, Soph? Working at TalkSPORT, there's too many gooners there. There's too many gooners.
Oh, well, look, Jay, I really appreciate you coming on. Thanks for joining, and lots of love to you and your family. And I'll give Kev your best as well.
And
I will. And squaddies, you've been very well behaved in chat. Well done. I didn't salute you at the start of the show like we usually do. But at ease, we're going to be back live at 7:30 p.m. this evening with Lee Judges and Tom Canton to take a bit of a deeper dive into the North London derby. Jason, you rock. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Can you hear me?
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.